The ultimate thing was my children, nourishing them, helping them develop and all that. And that's why it seems like such you know, like a contradiction in that, you know, people, how did you let that happen? If I didn't have that strength and the Lord, I couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. It's too bloody hard, you know, to get up and keep going. It's like Fiona's still going. I know. You know, the girls, yeah. You know what they've had to deal with. Yeah. And it's not finished yet, no. You know, but what they've had to deal with, you know, you've got to get up and keep going. You've got to get up and keep going, you know.
How can a human being go through what I went through and survive it and get, you know, Steve kept saying, oh, I can't believe that you can do this. I can't believe you can do this. And I'm like, well, neither can I.
I would walk on first when I was young, Peter would walk me, I'd walk on my own later on to Dr. Mark's house, but there was another house as well. And I would walk, I have vivid memories of being walked up this road by Peter and getting to the end of this road and turning left, and down the end of that road is Engadine Boys Town. It's just you just turn left up there and Engadine Boys Town. You turn right up there and go around the corner and you got Dr. Mark's or Leonis Petriscus' medical centre. This is where Leonis Petriscus worked, Dr. Mark, Melov. Every person employed at this medical practice in the 70s and 80s were involved in the ritual abuse of myself and other children, and crimes and murders and covering up murders and writing false medical reports to cover for the crimes that they committed. For the Sutherland Shire, and especially around Engadine Waterfall area.
A number one rule within that environment, that world, is never, number one rule is never, well, number one rule is there is no fight club. There is no fight club. There is no fight club. You know, we don't exist. That's number one rule. Second rule is never put your own personal interests, desires, passions, fetishes, you know, whatever, before the common good. Never. And Bailey violated the good of the coven, well, the good of the order. It's not the coven. Covens are little groups. The good of the order.
I used to walk here myself, where I had the privilege of being sexually abused by Leonis Petriscus, otherwise known as Dr. Mark. I don't remember this house. This wasn't here. But this is the general location that I was made to walk down. I've handed in police statements about what happened in this area. I was sexually abused by Leonis Petriscus and the red-headed woman who was associated with the Engadine policeman. And I've made detailed statements about being abused here when I was about 14, 15. The sexual abuse at the hands of Peter Holozak stopped at about age 12. Well, it did stop at age 12. I remember the day I had the argument with him. And that was after Dr. Mark, as I knew him, said, no more, he's not to touch you anymore. And then Dr. Mark was only allowed to touch me. Pretty exclusive.
I thought he was so young. I thought he was about 32, 34. I can still remember, and he was a very slight man. And but what really stuck in my head was that she called him Dr. Mark, because in those years you didn't ever speak to a doctor by their Christian name.
Not only as her friend do I believe her, but and I am a person that needs strong evidence for things, but there's a lot of circumstantial evidence. Yeah, there's a lot of and it needs to be looked at.
And people don't realise that these things happen. And since this, I have grown immensely as a person because I was so naive. I didn't think that there were people like this. I didn't think people did this kind of stuff. I didn't know that people hurt children just because they think it's fun. I really, honestly, I was so naive. I didn't think there were people like this in the world until this happened.
So I'd usually be walked to this church where they perform satanic rituals. I saw multiple sacrifices committed here. This is a stone altar. Very easy to clean. Chloe, who was 4, she was murdered here. Little 4-year-old girl, beautiful with those green come-to-bed eyes and very dark classic bob haircut. She was the daughter of the red-headed woman who was at Garrawara Cemetery. She was the partner of the fat Engadine policeman. I remember him sitting in here and everything. He used to walk. He was really overweight and he used to walk like that with his hands turned to the back. So I saw Chloe killed right here, and then after her death, her mother, the red-headed mother, went insane and she was bumped off as well because she became a liability. Father Evans, he was convicted for pedophilia and he was connected to this place. So it was nothing for me to walk, to Engadine Boys Town, Australia's first boys' town. The original Engadine Boys Town. My father was abused here.
A reject from the coven.
Was he really?
No, Frank wasn't like that at all. No, he wanted that stable family situation because he'd never had it. He only knew abuse in his home. He was so badly treated that he used to roam the streets all night until his mother came home from on the last train from work and meet her up at the station. So he had no home life to speak of.
He was quite normal until I think he started working with acid and cleaning houses with acid, and I think that has a toll on your liver. And then he started drinking, and that has a toll on your liver, and he just became violent. And he hung around the Malat family, as we said, which I didn't know about till my mother's interview.
She said that wasn't Dad, that was, what'd you say, the devil inside, yeah. And that's what it was like. It was like something had taken him over.